To put it mildly, I haven't been a big fan of this so-called Year of Playability. In fact, I believe 2025 has been one of the dullest years I've witnessed since I started backing Star Citizen in 2012, quite on par with maybe 2017, which veterans will remember as the year when basically nothing happened. Now, I know some people would jump in the comment section to remind me that performance has indeed improved quite a bit. The game can now handle content that simply it couldn't handle before. Now that is true, it's a fact, right? And the fact, however, remained that as of mid-September 2025, the only feature that we've had, unfortunately, is yet only dynamic weather. A feature that I was personally looking forward to, yes, and I'm glad it's here, but after last year's CitizenCon, I was expecting far more. CitizenCon Direct is now less than a month away, and with Squadron 42 officially off the table, I've had to revise my bingo card. But this should also mean that we should get a clearer glimpse at CIG's plans for 2026. It also means that the so-called Year of Playability is going to wrap up in just a few months, finally, right? And hopefully, by then, the hype boost from CitizenCon will make the game feel more exciting to play again. But will hype alone be enough? Probably not. And that's why in today's video I want to talk about how CIG should end the Year of Playability in order to transition into a hopefully more exciting 2026. So the first thing I would like to see as we move forward the end of the Year of Playability is more space content. And hopefully space content that actually works. By that, I mean missions that trigger properly, NPCs that actually show up, and of course more meaningful loot, like more than just a few SCUs that you would find in some random ship. Yes, of course, we did get new space missions this year from Foxwell, and to be fair, they've been quite promising. In fact, they're probably my favorite thing to do in the game right now, but let's be honest here, they're still filler missions. They're the kind of activities you pick when there is nothing else on the menu. What I'd really like to see is the return of something like the Miles Eckhart mission chain. Back in the day, you'd gradually climb your way up through escalating challenges until you ended up facing an Idris as a final boss fight. It was epic, and now with all the technical improvement the game has gone through this year, I think it's time to bring that kind of content back. Imagine seeing that Idris again, but this time in a game universe where performance is better and missions are more stable. That would really feel finally real, and it would be some substantial space gameplay that we are desperately needing right now. But if space is not on the menu, as is often the case with Star Citizen, which I think is quite a tragedy if you ask me, because this is supposed to be a space game, right? Then at the very least, I hope that ground missions start working properly. Too many times I've gone all the way to bunkers or remote outposts, tasked with eliminating NPCs, only to realize that progress wasn't being counted at all. And in a game where travel and preparation already takes so much time, getting to the location only to discover that all that effort was wasted because of bugs, right? Well, in a year that calls itself the Year of Playability, that is just unacceptable. Ground missions don't need to be flashy like those new investigation missions at the ASD facilities, but they do need to be reliable. And honestly, fixing those issues will already go a long way toward making the game feel more rewarding on a day-to-day basis. Next, I think more work urgently needs to be done on freight elevators. If there is one thing the Resource Drive initiative has highlighted, it's that freight elevators remain highly unreliable. Personally, I haven't been able to finish Urson Dynamics because every single time I try to handle cargo, whether it's at Everest Harbor or Lorville, the elevators simply don't work. And this is not just an issue tied to this particular event, it's a broader problem that directly impacts trading as a whole. Trading used to be a huge part of Star Citizen, one of the most engaging professions in the game, and now it feels like nothing more than a shadow of what it once was. After all, who wants to invest millions of Alpha UEC only to discover at the end of the journey that you can't deliver the goods, right? Fixing freight elevators is not just a quality of life update, It's essential for restoring confidence in one of the game's most important economic loops. And the worst part is that we've had this conversation throughout the whole year and we are still having it. That too is leaving me worried for 2026. Finally, I really hope we can move on from this whole ASD and regeneration crisis narrative. I understand what CIG is trying to do here. They're trying to compensate for the lack of new features by providing curated gameplay content, but honestly, this reminds me a lot of what Elite Dangerous did a few years ago with the Thargoid War, and that is stretching out a storyline for way too long. And you know what I did back then with Elite Dangerous? Well, I uninstalled the game until that whole story was over. I'm afraid the regeneration crisis is becoming Star Citizen's equivalent. The problem is, curated content is not why many people play Star Citizen. This game has always been about a sandbox experience. Features are added and players create their own stories, set their own goals, and shape their own adventures. The ASD content, to me at least, is the complete opposite of that vision. And you know what? I'm actually going to go as far as saying that I think it's a waste of resources. There are so many other types of mission that could be created, even the old ones that could be brought back, yet instead the content team seems locked in these niche scenarios that don't even involve spaceships. And I know I'm repeating here myself, but for a space game, it's baffling. I really hope CIG recalibrates their efforts and shifts focus back to the fundamentals. So to sum it up here, 2025 so far, yeah, it's been called the Year of Playability, but for many of it, it's more like the Year of Waiting. Yes, performance of course has improved, yes, the game is technically more capable than it was 12 months ago, but the truth is that features have been scarce, missions are often broken, trading is unreliable to say the least, and curated narratives have taken the place of the sandbox vision that drew us to Star Citizen in the first place. As we head into CitizenCon Direct, my hope is that CIG uses this moment to not just hype up the future, but also show us a real transition out of this holding pattern. Bring back meaningful space missions, fix the basics like ground objectives and freight elevators, stop leaning so heavily on narrative events that pull away from the heart of what makes Star Citizen unique. If CIG can end the Year of Playability by addressing these fundamentals, then 2026 could finally become the year where Star Citizen is not just playable, but truly worth playing. And that, more than any flashy demo or cinematic trailer, is what will keep the community excited and engaged. Alright guys, that is all for today's video. Don't forget, we have a giveaway thanks to Admiral Gruffus. We are giving away this L21 Wolf. All you have to do is to subscribe to the channel and comment to any videos posted this month to get one of 10 entries into the Wheel of Names, automatic entries for Patreon and YouTube members. A big shout out to Dr. Frobenso, Carta Sisters, The Key to the Crusher, The Rise and Zero Crusher, and everyone else who supports the channels. Much appreciated, guys. I have been Irad. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.